Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that will be perpetually retro because I'm playing every video game in order of release. This is episode 7. To recap what we did in episode 6, let's take a look at the releases that came out on the Atari 2600. We did Fun with Numbers. We did the Air and Sea Battle. We did Basic Math. We did Blackjack, not really, but we did Chase. We did Combat, the Phenomenal Combat with 27 games. We did Indy 500. We did Outer Space. We did Speedway. We did Starship. Street Racer. Surround. Tank Plus. Target Fun. The Amazing Video Olympics. And we also played some TRS-80 at our home computer. And then went to the arcades and played Destroyer. If you want the full video of episode 6, please check out the dark web. Let's move on to our next game. It's Space Wars. So we're still in the arcades. It is 1977, and we've done it. I can't believe this. This is the very first vector-based video game. Everything we've seen to this point has been rasters. So let's see what Space War is like. This is the advertisement flyer for Space War. Patented by Vector Beam. That's right, Vector Beam. They're the ones that created the first video game in vector graphics. If you're not sure, just wait till we start playing. You'll understand what vector graphics are. There's a different advertisement for Space Wars. Exclusive features, the Vector Beam monitor. Patented technological breakthrough which allows ultra-high resolution. And this is ultra-high resolution. This is 1977, 1,024 horizontal positions, 768 vertical positions. Can you believe it? I can't believe we got this far. This is a big moment for Chronological Gaming. A broad selection of play options completely satisfies every player, and unprecedented realism. Oh, you'll see the realism, that's right. Here's the example of the arcade cabinet. Very standard, box-like, but it's not necessarily what the cabinet looks like, it's what it can play. Hey, coming from the chat. Here's our control panel for Space War. This is actually a lot of buttons and it looks technical, but it's a pretty simple game. We got a few controls. It looks like we just go forward, we fire, and we go to hyperspace. And that is up for the artwork. We have no manual, so we're going to be winging it with Space Wars. This is November 1977, playing Space Wars in the arcade. Oh yes, that's right. Take a look at those vector graphics. Soak them in. Soak them in. So we have some instructions that are on the arcade cabinet. There's different modifications. If you look down on the side right here by me. And then we have games. Looks like there's a beginner game, intermediate, and expert game. Let's do a quick check of the controls. Looks like we have 3 buttons and can move left and right. So pretty standard. All right, let's put a coin in. Cha-ching. Oh, it says 100. I think that means we put 1 coin in. Do I need more money? All right, let's put another coin in. All right, there's 2. Can I play now? Please, can I play? How many coins does this need? I'm putting in 5 coins. Any other coins need to go in this? Hello? Are you there? All right, we'll try this then. Ah, you have to push one of the buttons on the side of the control panel. Okay, so I am the ship on the left. This is vector-based graphics, and you can see I can turn my ship left and right. Look at the realism. And if we had 2 people, the second player would be controlling the spaceship that's right here. It looks like Star Trek, but it's not Star Trek, of course not. Looks like I got 1 move to thrust, so I'm thrusting my ship around. I can move left and right. Wow. High definition, 1977. And then I have a button to shoot, so I can go around and shoot. Can I get my ship here? Bam. Oh, yeah, and he explodes into pieces. That's great. Can I do anything with the asteroid? So it looks like it shows the score at the top, and we have a timer at the very top. So I got 1 point for blowing him out of the water. What happens if I go into the black hole? I blow up if I go in the black hole. And then it looks like the other player got the point. So there is very mild gravity slowly sucking me in. You can see it doing it to the second player. And as I get closer, it starts to pull me in more and more. So I can go in and do a few shots. And then bam. All right, and they have different game modes on the arcade cabinet. This is the first time we've seen this. I bet it has to do with the dip switches. So let's take a look in the back of the arcade cabinet. It's not the dip switches. So it is options on the arcade panel that people could select that were playing, not just one of the administrators of the arcade. So, oh, that's so cool. But a simple star field, vector-based graphics, and then for 2 people, this was awesome. All right, that was Space Wars. And we're giving that one above average. Yeah, this one, community said 4 stars. We're going to give it 4.5 for the time. This is the best looking, one of the best arcade games we played. And it kind of reminds us of another game that's going to come out sometime, but they kind of use this idea called Asteroids. But we'll pretend we didn't see Asteroids yet. So this is 4.5 stars for 1977 in the arcades. Let's move on to our next game. This is Circus in the arcades. Still in 1977. We can tell it's 1977 because all the games have one name. You don't need details. Here's our advertisement flyer for Circus. Operators, watch your profits bounce to an all-time high with Circus. The hit of 1977. Cash in on Circus. There's an example of the arcade cabinet. Looks like we just got 1 or 2 buttons on the front of it. And then there's an example of the circuit board. There's our control panel. We got 1 player to start. And then, oh, it's just a dial like the trackball for the Atari. Yeah, so our controls are just left and right. Looks pretty simple. Some artwork. Got it. All right, let's see if the manual helps us out. This is Circus in the arcade in 1977. I do know this gets ripped off by a lot of systems and games. Here's the manual for service. This is by Exidy, and if we go to general information, okay, Circus is a 1 or 2 player skill game, requires you to bounce a jumping clown off the proper side of a springboard, and in turn propel another clown to the top of the screen where you can burst 3 colored rows of balloons. The higher the clown jumps, the more balloons can be burst, and the greater score you obtain. Definitely we're using the Circus and Carnival for inspiration to this game, because if you went to the Carnival way before video games, you played all the games that you're familiar with in the Carnival, like throwing a dart at the balloons on the board and things like that. All right. Let's take a look at Circus. This is December 1st, 1977 in the arcade by Exidy. And it looks like this emulator doesn't work for us. No problem. We got backups. We got backups. So if we went to the arcades in 1977, this one just came out fresh off the presses. Take a look at that. This is the full artwork of Circus. And if you look down at the bottom, we have the control panel right here. And it's showing us, as we just have a dial to turn left and right. And pretty basic, but the artwork's awesome. Let's put a coin in. Ching. It gives us instructions. Move empty-sided springboard under man for continued play. Pop all blue balloons for a bonus jump. So we get 1 credit. Let's push start and see what happens. We have some very annoying music in the background, but I'm moving a dial, as you can see on the bottom, and oh, okay. I'm supposed to move, I'm twisting the dial back and forth, and I'm letting the men land on the springboard, and basically just bounce. Oh, gosh. And they play death music when they die. So you can call it a stunt game, I guess, but they call this a game of skill when it's essentially a breakout style game. The same idea as Pong, but just adding another fun element to it that you're moving people around and bouncing people, or acrobats from the circus. And then they die. So that was the first game. That's all you get. A few jumps, and then you move on to the next one. Great idea. Taking a style we've seen before and then just adding to it. Pretty good. So it's above average. 3 is our average for the time. We will give this 3.5 for Circus. Pretty good for the arcade, 1977. All right, moving on to our next game. We got Sprint 4 in the arcades. Let's look at some of the artwork for Sprint 4. Oh yeah, with that artwork, it's got to be Atari. Neon even. 1 to 4 players, so I guess 4 means 4 players. You can tell by the arcade cabinet, they got 2 people on one side, 2 people on the other side, and you have a wheel you can control and push a pedal down for the gas in the game. And we have a gear shifter, so 4 gears you can shift back and forth from. There's another close-up of the arcade cabinet, and closer even, and it looks like we have 4 gears we can shift from with accelerate, and then left and right. All right, so let's see what the manual has for us. This is Sprint 4 by Atari. Atari has released their home console just a few months before this came out in the arcades, and it's similar to another game they've put out. This one's just the 4-player version of it. And looks like this is... Okay, this is operations for the arcade cabinet, how to make it run for one of the operators in the arcade. So won't take a look at that. We got extra versions that we won't play, but let's take a look. This is December 1977, playing Sprint 4 in the arcade by Atari. All right, so it's a top-down view car game. Let's put a coin in. Cha-ching. Looks like we can get different maps if we change the different roads. And there's a button on the arcade cabinet you can select for it. And we'll do a simple one like this one. And then when we're ready, we push start. It times us down. And, oh yeah, our wheel is all out of whack because it's set for an actual wheel, not a controller that I'm using. So we can switch that out. We want this one. Yeah, the sensitivity right now is off the charts. So right now it thinks I'm doing this with the wheel of the arcade cabinet. Slow down. Slow it down. There we go. Okay, so now let's put a coin in. Cha-ching! And push start. By the way, everyone... Oh my gosh. The players are going way too fast. It looks like Sprint 4 has options set, and the options for this arcade cabinet have been set for ridiculously hard because I don't have 4 people playing with me. They have the computer set for a very hard difficulty, and you got to be an expert to play like that. Let's see if we can change some of the options for the cars. So it looks like we have late entry service mode. So there are a few options we could change, but it would be better if I had 4 people to play with. But we have the idea of Sprint 4, so let's move on and exit out. Let's see if we'll stay in the arcade or not. But for Sprint 4, we've seen this before. This is average for the time in the arcade. We'll go ahead and give it 3 stars.